The Chinese Riddler has gone insane with leaks for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We have so much to talk about. Let's dive in. On July 6th, the Riddler posted this little screenshot of a movie called The Lake House featuring Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock and says, try to project their relationship into Titan. Now, Titan is, of course, the code name for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The movie itself is about a fantasy romance relationship that develops between two different people, and they communicate by passing letters into the house's mailbox. They fall in love, so on and so forth, but they don't live at the house at the same time, so they're kind of like a past and future kind of integration there. And Soul Silver actually breaks this down, and he says that it's character month, so this may have something to do with the characters in the game, and thinks that it actually may point towards the professors of the game, and says that maybe one's from the past and one's from the future, and the professors are actually communicating with each other through some sort of device, right? Which I think is pretty interesting. I think there's a lot of theories regarding Scarlet and Violet and how there could be some massive time gaps between the two games, and that could actually result in different forms, different Pokemon. We'll talk about later in the video how space-time distortions in Legends Arceus may tie directly into what Scarlet and Violet is developing, and it's very clear when you look at the legendary Pokemon, Koraidon and Miraidon, that they are very similar yet super different. So I think there's a lot to uncover here with this Lake House riddle and much, much more, but I think we're getting closer and closer to nailing down this past and future kind of theme that is going to be taking place in the upcoming games. Belma on Twitter actually mentions that this movie is actually a US remake of a Korean film called Two Mare, which focuses on two lovers in two different timelines, and they were able to communicate through this mailbox because they're not able to like have their timelines merge. Also, by the way, so many of you guys have left great comments for me. My son is home and healthy. His name is Dylan. Here's a nice picture of me and my little family. Aww. And things are gonna be a little crazy, but we should be back to the news and update videos here on the channel. So again, thank you for all your kind words. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you guys are new. You guys supporting me and the channel directly supports my growing family, so thank you guys. I love you guys. The Riddler then goes on to post on the 7th Titan V with some characters that I can't read, and Soul Silver's pumped about it and says, finally fam, I was scared there wasn't gonna be an evil team in Scarlet and Violet, but here they are. V equals villains. Korozu equals crows in English. Perhaps the evil team has something to do with Team Crows or close to that, maybe Team Blackbird. We went through some different lessons on this and trying to break it down. There's actually a manga series called Crows, and Soul Silver says this is true. They might even be a biker gang of delinquents. Maybe a new kind of villainous Pokemon having to do with motorbikes other than the legendaries will be their mascot. So the thought that we have these themes in this game about schools and racing, maybe there's this evil team that has like a motorbike gang and they try to like race you around the region at different points, right? We pretty much know that there's gonna be some sort of riding thing going on with these various legendary Pokemon. So how will the evil team tie in? We'll have to wait and see, but Titan V does seem to mean Titan a villain, and again, we talk about that different manga and the different delinquents that are in it, and we do think that there's gonna be some sort of biker gang kind of vibe going on there with motocross and much, much more. Eduardo on Twitter thinks that the team name is gonna be Team Cross because of motocross, crossing the gate of time, arrow of time crossing the hyper surface of present and light cone. A lot of interesting stuff there, but we think that Team Cross could be the name of the evil team. The Riddler then goes on to post Titan R, BW, XY, SWSH, FFM, and it seems as though this is actually related to the rivals of the game. There's 3 rivals, 2 females and 1 males. I think they're similar to the one rival from Black and White, X and Y, and Sword and Shield. Female from Black and White, female from X and Y, and male from Sword and Shield. My guess is that they're the second rivals, not the main one. So Black and White would be Bianca, X and Y would be Shauna, and Sword and Shield would be Bede. We already know Nimona has an important piece of the storyline, and I think that Nimona has one of the most confusing pieces just because if there is this past and future theme, how does Nimona tie in? Is she human? Is she a Pokemon? Like, what's the deal with Nimona? Why is she in both timelines if that is indeed the case? Now here's where things get really interesting. The Riddler then goes on to post Titan C 456. Soul Silver says, this one's simple to me, but I already knew. The champion's gonna be female. If I'm wrong, then you get a free leak. C equals champion, 4 is Cynthia, 5 Iris, 6 Diantha, all female. There's a few ways to look at it, but I think this is it. So Soul Silver thinks that this is indicating that the Titan champion, and again, this is the character month themes, is gonna be a female champion. However, there's a couple other things we can look at here. 456 is Finneon's Pokedex number. Maybe relevant, maybe not. 456 is also the number on the uniform for the Squid Games champion on the Netflix show Season 1. What's interesting is these characters in Squid Games dye their hair red after they win, maybe the champion will have red hair in Generation 9. And it actually brought up a really interesting character, if you guys remember. His name was Ryuki. Now, Ryuki was introduced in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and he actually shows up potentially being a Dragon-type gym leader one day. His region is unknown, but he just starts showing up in Alola. He also kind of looks like the Scarlet Legendary a little bit, but he's a rock musician who traveled to Alola from another region beyond the sea in order to spread his fame. He's also one of the trainers who challenges the player for the title of Pokemon Champion. So, we think about Spain being very music-oriented. We talk about the fact that maybe he looks a little bit like the Scarlet Legendary or maybe like a Rooster-type Pokemon. And I think that there's something worth here, right? Like, at the end of the day, we talk about the fact that Ryuki is a character that has a very interesting background to him, and I would not be surprised to see him make another appearance in Scarlet and Violet. So don't be surprised if you see Ryuki come back. Maybe he's actually the champion. The Riddler then goes on to pose another riddle, says you'll see similar stuff in Titan with a picture of Detroit Become Human. Detroit Become Human has a plot that follows 3 androids who escape their owner to exploit their newfound sentience and protect a young girl whose job is to hunt down sentient androids. And then there's another character who devotes himself to releasing those androids from servitude. Some people on Twitter, like Nova, say, combined with the other tweet, Nimona is a motherly figure, like a friendly rival. Then there's an opposite gender rival who's your classmate friend. And then there's an antagonistic, serious male rival. So again, there's a lot of questions around the rivals, but it seems as though, based on this riddle from the Riddler regarding Detroit Become Human, that there could be 3 rivals, right? You've got Nimona, and then you've got 2 other rivals. Now, we've long thought that RF means regional fakes. We know it means regional forms, but in the context of the Riddler, we've thought it means regional fakes. But this person, Super Saiyan, says maybe regional fakes are robotic copies of Pokemon. And Ku still only says R fakes, so it could even be robotic fake. Light Gotcha here says on Twitter, RF means robot fake. Ku said on purpose a riveting new robot or RF in a past poll, meaning a rivet. Robots are mechanical. Today he introduced that Titan will be common in the game Detroit Become Human. So again, a lot of interesting theories regarding this. Robotic Pokemon, which is exactly what the Legendary seems to be. But I'm just curious how that's gonna tie in if you have 2 different versions of the game that are taking place in different times. Maybe you have like an old school version of the Pokemon, like let's say an old school Tauros we've never seen before. Then we have our Tauros that we know today. And then maybe there's like a mechanical bull Tauros in the other game. That would actually be insane if they did like split forms for every single Pokemon. I think that'd be unheard of. I swear, I step away for just a few days and the leaks are just crazy. The Riddler then goes on to say, Nimona seems to be a perfect character from the story of Titan. She's basically a goddess, both tender and powerful. So we'll have to wait and see. Nimona is potentially an enhanced human or a full-on robot, which we talked about earlier. She's basically a goddess, both tender and powerful. She's a perfect character. Maybe she's obviously in both games. What is her story if these 2 games are taking place in the past and the future? Then goes on to talk about the different gym leaders, says the gym leaders will all have occupations, and then says that the highlights are common in Titan. Now, the highlights, we're probably talking about the hair highlights. If you notice, Nimona has like a green highlight, saying that a lot of the gym leaders, like based on their typing, will have their hairs highlighted in a certain way to indicate their typing. But saying that they all have occupations, which is really cool because if you think about the Pokemon universe, a lot of times these Pokemon gym leaders would have some sort of role in the game. I think Black and White did the best in explaining that, where Clay would kind of help out around the town and Lenora had a role in the museum and so on and so forth, if you guys remember that. So I think that's actually a really cool aspect of this, where you can kind of have these different gym leaders actually be a part of the story as opposed to just like sitting in a building and you just battle them. The Riddler then goes on to say, personal takes, my favorite gym leader, teased by the official with PV1, promotional video 1, Pokemon teased them, so maybe the bug type gym leader, saying that she's very attractive. I'm gonna beef some of this out, and she has a very attractive tear mole. So she maybe have a mole kind of under her eye is what we're thinking. So if there's a gym leader that comes out and has a mole under her eye, we know that he was talking about that particular person. The last thing we'll talk about in this video is how RiddlerCoup ranks Scarlet and Violet, which I think is pretty big. He says, what do you want to know about the next month? You know, the official is quiet right now. Pokemon hasn't really said anything, although I think we're probably gonna get something this week. By the way, there was a very impactful death in Japan last week, and I think that that could delay any sort of news. Pokemon generally is relatively silent around these times. They tend to be very respectful of global conflicts, or especially things happening in their own country in Japan. So again, just don't be surprised if there's a little bit of a lag on any news that may come out. But he says, I don't want to spoil you a lot. Your Titan gameplay experience would be much better. It's a great game and it's in the list of my top 3. He then goes on to retweet his top games that he's rated in the past and says that I would revise Heart Gold Soul Silver to be 9 and Scarlet and Violet plus TBD 8.5. So he says that Scarlet and Violet is an 8.5, which puts it at just below Black and White 2, right with Black and White. Says it's better than Ultra Sun and Moon, ORAS, X and Y, all these different games, saying he thinks that it's better than Sword and Shield, better than BDSP, Legends Arceus. That's a really, really good rating for RiddlerCoup for sure. He then says that I don't like single player games. The social features are essential for the Pokemon series. Some prefer PLA, it's okay for me. Among the ones I played in the least time. So he says that I think that by mentioning that social features are such a big part really indicates that this game is gonna feature them. And we've kind of seen that already with them showcasing their 4-person multiplayer. We'll see how that all plays out. There's actually a few more things that we didn't cover in this video that I'll cover probably tomorrow or the next day. So stay tuned for that, but be sure to like the video if you guys enjoyed it. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I know this video was just a lot of me throwing information at you, but it's because I'm behind. I haven't been able to cover the Riddler in a few days because I was away for the week. So thanks for sticking with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Be sure to like the video, like I said, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys for all your support. Thanks for watching, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.